So, hi Neil, welcome to Global Influencers Hub. Here we talk about the life journeys of influencers. Let's deep dive right into yours. So,
Sure.
we'd like to hear about all about you, your journey, your stories, everything. Let's start with your early childhood and tell us all about it. Like, when did it start? How did your love for sports happen? All of that.
Yeah, so I was a very plumpy kid when I was small. I was a little overweight. So my mom just randomly put me in the sports, relay in our school, not knowing what's going to come. But she just put me there for me to lose weight. And I had a pre nursery teacher called Miss Anna. I think she saw the potential in me. So she used to always bribe me by saying, Neil, come, we'll go for a relay and I'll treat you with a grilled chicken. So the chicken steak. So I was like, sure, like anything for chicken. So I used to run in school level in LKG. Not that I was not that keen. I used to run for the sake of it because my mom used to push me. Then slowly, I never saw a way out of it. Like I always like the first thought in my head was, oh, training is in the morning. So I never really thought like there was a way out of it because I enjoyed running. And when I was in third grade, I got a new coach, Malay sir. He joined our school. So he kind of molded me. He was my grassroots level coach. He molded me in such a way that I was able to do a consistent performance till my senior category. And I went to many national tournaments. I won many medals under him. Then, obviously, after you go to a certain level, you need to have a team, you need to have a group, a club of your own. So that's when I decided to do professionally. When 2021, I turned a pro in athletics. That's when I joined a different club. Yeah, so I just ran for chicken when I was small.
So, who was your biggest influence at that time? Your mom?
Uh, I wouldn't say my mom, but obviously she is my biggest motivator. Influencer in my sports, there's no in my family. There's no one in sports, so I'm the only one who's like gone to this level. I do have my cousins who are in like kabaddi and cricket and all, but yeah, like no one thought that an athlete can come out from our family. It was all self motivation.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, who's your biggest support now? Like
Now my
your,
family, yeah,
your
my
family, of
mom,
course.
my dad, my brother, yeah, they literally don't force me to do anything else other than running. Like education is a secondary thing for me.
Of
So
course.
first question is how like anything about athletics, and then comes all the other things. Yeah, they're very big. They motivate me a lot for anything.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
So, what has been that one turning point in your life?
I would say COVID because so my body is like I have this kind of genetic where I gain weight very easily and I have low metabolism. So if you see as a perspective of Indian athletics, so Indian athletes, I am a very heavy built athlete. So many athletes, especially female athletes, are lean, tall, slim, and goes towards the structural build, like straight structural build. But I'm towards the broader build. So I have bigger thighs, bigger glutes, bigger arms. So COVID is when I gained a lot of weight and I was very overweight. So I was not able to run at all. I was like really struggling even to do a small rep. So after during COVID, it kind of hit me like this is it's not working out. Like athletics is not working out, and I have to stop and all. So that's when I joined my pro team. Like that's when I left my old coach and I joined a new team because I wanted something more active and more scientific because I knew my body type is not common. So when I decided, it was all my decision. I only decided to join a new coach. So after joining my new current coach Bindurani, that's when I got that craze of athletics again. That's when I craved for training. That's when I craved for like a performance and all. So COVID was a turning point. I think COVID was a turning point for all athletes. Like
A lot of
yeah,
people,
everyone just went through a
yeah.
lot of ups and downs in COVID time. because
course.
that's when it triggers, like that's when it tests your patience in COVID, right? Because 2 years, no events, nothing, everyone just
Yeah.
eating, gaining weight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of, yeah, I took it as an advantage in COVID after realizing that I need a little more. I'm not stagnant. I need more training and all.
Wonderful. So, what's that one life lesson you think that sports has taught you that you'll carry with you forever?
Just trust the person you have put your faith in, right? So if you are training under a coach, you need to trust him or trust her. So I've seen a lot of athletes who train for like 4 5 months and then leave, and it's really a waste of time for them because they don't see the improvement in themselves. What I learned was I need to trust my coach. I have to place everything on her hand. So I am placing my whole body with you. You show me the right way. So I learned is trusting your coach and trusting anyone. Like even if like even the teacher like you're studying in and all, you need to trust them what they're teaching you, what you're learning from them and all. So I learned something which is trust and trust the process also. You need to you can't just achieve like that. It takes time. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of hard work. So that's one thing it's still constant in my brain, like okay, there's time, I can work on it. I have to trust the process, like that. Yeah.
Of course, of course, of course. Now, what is your daily routine like? What is a day in the life of Neol look like?
I start my day 5:40 in the morning. So I start my day. I do all my pre-workout rituals. I get up. I eat my snacks, my whatever, and then I go to track at by 7. I'm in track. 7 to 9:30, 7 to 10:30, like 7 to. It depends on days. So 7 to 10:30, I'm always in track, and then for me it's a 45-minute journey to the track. So when I come back, it's almost 11, 12. I eat my breakfast and I take a nap, and then my lunch, and then again training. By 3:45, no, by 3:30, I'm again in training, and then I reach home by 7. Then, as soon as I reach home, I take a shower, then a little phone time, and then I'm in bed. So, my whole day just goes in training and in eating. Half of the day, I'm only eating. And studying is very little. Very little.
Oh.
Yeah. If I have like, if
Of
I get
course.
like, if I know there's an exam coming up and I start, uh, having the fear of exams, that's when I start studying.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, what is that? Talk to us about the biggest challenge you've had so far, and how did you overcome that?
Biggest challenges in a sense of events is one time I had a hamstring tear. So that was one of the major injuries I had. So it was a grade 3 tear, and it took around 6 to 8 months for me to recover. So in 6 to 8 months, I was just in the bed in my house, just not doing anything, and had to go to college every day. So that was sad, and it was really test. It was like I was in a phase where I didn't know what to do. Like, should I continue or should I stop or what? Because there are a lot of important events. I missed two international selections due to that injury. But slowly I just started recovering, and I had an event right after my injury. It was Kalo India. So right after 8 months, I had an event, and then I got a bronze medal. So it was my first national medal after my injury. It was really hard. It was like heartwarming for me and my coach. So I still remember us crying in one corner. I'd never seen my coach cry. So this is the first time I'm seeing her cry. So after my medal, that was really, one thing which I never forget. And in a sense of my, like as I said, right, in Indian athletics, like a lot of coaches just look at you as a lean and like they have one way of physique of an athlete. So I got a lot of talks. Like I got a lot of people who have bullied me in being it online, being it offline. Like I used to get bullied for being fat. I used to get bullied for being overweight. I used to get bullied. They used to call me Jamaican There's as there's an offense. Like there should be like, yeah, you look like a Jamaican with big glutes and all. I was like, okay, but when I was small, I used to obviously feel bad. But right now, I take it as like a compliment. Yeah, I would love to look like a Jamaican. So. Yeah, like in online YouTubes and all, a lot of YouTubers used to put videos of us run, and then I see the comments. Everyone used to like start like hating, saying that, oh, you're too fat, or you're too fat, or you're too fat. So it really did hurt me a lot, but I think now I'm just over it, and I learned how to love my body. So and now I'm just like, I don't care. Yeah.
Wonderful. Excellent. So this kind of bullying actually exists in
Yeah, it does. It does in
Okay.
athletics. Yeah, it does. Like,
Okay.
I'm not afraid of like anyone. Like, a lot of people say you don't have to, don't talk about it. Like, it's not good. Like, it's your senior coaches and all. But it's not. It's not fair for young athletes who are, trying to build a a standard in athletics. It's not fair for people like me who have gone through it, and being an overweight athlete, or being a bulky athlete. We say muscular athlete, so being a bulky muscular athlete, we get a lot of hate. We get a lot of, I think it's inferior because we have muscle mass. But yeah, a lot of coaches just keep talking behind you, or they talk to you on your face saying that you're overweight, and it's not nice, it's rude. It hurts a
Okay.
person's self-esteem. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'm glad that you're talking about it because,
Yeah.
it can damage someone's aspiration as well, I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That,
yeah.
instead of, because at a tender age, if you're not encouraging a certain person in a certain way,
Yeah.
you don't know
Yeah.
how that can really affect.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, very true, very true.
Yeah.
So, what has been your proudest moment so far?
My international medal in Chennai, it was Asian Junior Championship. So there we broke the national record, and we got the gold medal. So we broke two national records back to back, and actually we came back from an international in Lima. Right after that, we ran the Chennai event. So we were in jet lag. All of us were, all over the place. We just wanted to sleep, but then there was an international, so we had to perform. But even with all that, tiredness and exhaustion, we ran with the national record and a gold medal. So it was really a proud moment. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Excellent. So, any misconceptions you think that people have about the life of a professional athlete?
People think, I have a lot of friends who think like, I don't enjoy my routine. So they, a lot of people keep saying like, why do you do this? Like, you're like crying half of the time when you're working out, or you're like, why would you choose a profession where you're half of the time just struggling, half of the time you're just like training and sweating it out and all. Like, why would you choose it? But I have tried not doing it, and I don't enjoy a normal routine. I need something, physical. I need something which pushes you, something which is like a challenge. So a lot of people think like athletes don't enjoy their routine, but I would say that professionals do enjoy what they do, and they choose it because they don't want to be going. They don't want a normal routine. They want something which give challenges them every day. So yeah, like athletes enjoy what they do.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. Absolutely. I'm sure. So, how do you prepare yourself mentally and physically? Right before, talk to us firstly about the mental part, that how do you prepare yourself mentally before an international competition? And of course, physically follows as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Mentally, so I am blessed with having, because of all that I said, right? All the backbiting, all the bullying I got. So because of that, I have, right now I'm not that weak mentally. So I would say I'm very confident mentally. So for me, I love the attention. I crave for people looking at me running. So internationals, I just love the ambience. I just love all the people cheering for you, and I love the crowd. So I enjoy the pressure. I enjoy the competition. I enjoy what outcome will I get from all my hard work, because I'm confident enough that I have worked hard for where I am right now.
Of
So
course, of
I don't
course.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there is a little bit doubt, like, oh, what will happen? But I feel that my confidence overpowers that. So mentally, I just, think about all the training I've done, think about all the hardships, all the sacrifices I have done in my previous training to showcase what my performance will be. Yeah, that's
And physically, of course, you go ahead and train
yeah,
the way you
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Anything additional that you do, like right before the before the day?
Physically, I just take a lot of. I try to calm myself down by thinking about all what I'll be expecting. So we visualize our race a lot, and training is physically. We just we don't stress ourselves too much. We try to. So when we do our training before the event, when we feel good, that's where we stop. So we feel good, and then that's all. So we don't over exceed that that limit. So we don't want to push ourselves, we just want to feel good all the time. And yeah, physically, I mean, it is the coach, it is up to the student athlete and the coaches how they push themselves physically during the events. Mentally, I feel all of them should just all the athletes should just trust the training they've done for the event. Yeah.
Now, how do you unwind?
Unwind.
Yeah, how do you unwind after, like, how do you relax? Like, what is your relaxation like, given that, work so hard?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, of course, how do you recharge? How do you unwind?
I am a very crafty person, so I crochet clothes and sell them online. I upcycle clothes, so I thrift clothes and then I upcycle them and I sell all of them. That's my side business, side hustle. So I make clothes,
Wonderful.
I crochet, and I paint a lot of things. And I'm a very crafty person. But if it comes to yeah, and I sell a lot of them. So if it comes to like unwinding myself, I just sit in my sofa, I put Netflix, something in my phone, and then I'll be doing my work. So I love being alone. I love my own space. I love my own, boundaries. So I don't I if unwinding, if someone's in my room, I'm like out. I need my time. I don't yeah, please, I don't want to talk to anyone right now. Yeah. So I just
Of course. The focus, I think that's the
yeah,
focus
yeah,
part of it.
yeah.
So any superstition that you have right before you're running or anything like that?
I used to always think if I put crazy hairstyles, I run faster. But then over the time, I kind of learned like it's not it. Like you can just leave your hair and run, nothing will happen. So I'm just over it. I'm just over all the superstitions. I don't really believe in all of that. I used to think my favorite shorts used to be Lucky for Me, and then one day I just wore a random shorts and I still won in that. So I just stopped believing in superstitious things. But a
Oh,
lot,
good, good, good.
yeah, but I
No,
know
I
a
know.
lot of
I've heard that usually people have this,
yeah, yeah,
that, if I wear this, if I do this, then
yeah.
it'll help, it'll work. So that's why I think, given that you have an international career, so it's just, curious and wondering about that.
No, but I know a lot of athletes who wear like the same socks, like for like ages, they
Yeah,
don't wash
yeah,
and all. Yeah, like I know some athletes.
of course, of course.
Yeah.
So what would your advice be for young athletes who are training and or like following your footsteps?
Yeah. So I would say till 18, 19, they just have to you just have to enjoy what you're doing. After 18, then you can turn professional, because one thing I realize is till you're 18, you just have to enjoy your life, just enjoy your childhood, just enjoy your teenage. You can, like you don't have to stress a lot on what's going to happen. After you turn 18, 19, that's when you can, focus on sports, because I regret not enjoying my childhood because I went into sports too early. But yeah, just you can have fun and do sports, so you don't have to like burden yourself in athletics right now, so just enjoy for now. Yeah.
So what if there was on similar lines, if there was one advice that you had to give your younger self, what
My
would that be?
yeah, same, like uh don't stress. Like I'm a very big foodie, so I sacrifice a lot of junk food, and I sacrifice a lot of like my friend time or like my hangouts time for training. But I think it was not worth it. Like I should have enjoyed my childhood, because now, while seeing my friends, like by seeing my juniors have fun and do sports, I regret it. Like I realized that I could also have done that. So I would have told
Right.
myself to chill a little, have fun. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah,
Enjoy your cheat days. Do you have
yeah,
cheat days? What
yeah,
about cheat days?
yeah.
Do you take?
Course.
No?
Of course, I do.
Of course. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, what does a cheat day in the life of you look like?
Okay, so my cheat day is not I. So I normally I despise oil. I don't like oil. So I am not a burger fan. I am okay. Pizza is not that great, but I'm not a burger fan. So but then I love Korean cuisine. So I love ramen. I love kimbap. I love anything of Korean. So I just eat a lot of Korean cuisines. Like there's a shop near my house. I just walk there and I buy like big ramen bowl and I just eat that. And that's my lunch and dinner. I need, yeah, I if I eat that for lunch, my dinner is sorted out.
Oh, nice. Nice. So, talk to us about an embarrassing moment that you've had in, on the stage or in your
Uh,
career.
in competitions, nothing has happened because I am very conscious. Like I need everything to be perfectly done. But in training, I have had a lot of embarrassing moments where I farted a lot while running, and a lot of like when you're running, you can't control the gas, and it's just out there. So a lot of gas tragedies. Other than that, nothing.
Okay, okay, okay. Now, travel is, of course, part of your career. So, any favorite country that you've visited so far?
So country internationals, I've gone to three. One was in India, one was in Dubai, one was in Lima. Dubai, so I'm born in Dubai. So my dad still works there, so I keep traveling up and down in Dubai. So Dubai, I've seen a lot. Lima was a very beautiful place. I don't mind actually settling in Lima. I love the people. I love the culture. I love. I'm a very culture oriented person, so I just
Mm.
love culture of different countries. So I feel like Lima had a strong culture, so I just love that place. Clean area.
Oh,
If
wow.
I would say in India, in around India, where I've gone to almost all the states, but I really love Panchkula. Yeah, Haryana. It's a very beautiful place, and it
I'll
is.
look it up.
Huh? I'm sorry.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's a Panchakula is a very nice place. It's a the so the structure of the road, like the road structure, society structure is very like
Mm.
top notch.
Oh, wonderful,
Yeah, yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
So, what is the hardest part about being an international athlete that most people don't know about?
I think it's the standard you uphold, because you have built your standard in a level. So stepping down of that standard is, it kind of like hurts you as an athlete, hurts your coach, hurts everyone around you who's working to build you up more. So I think I think many athletes face that problem, because every time you need to step one step ahead, right? You don't want to step down. But yeah, I think that's one thing. Even right now that I have an event coming up soon, so I just want to perform better than my internationals. So I don't want to step down. So I think that's one thing that all athletes face when they've gone to a level.
Okay, okay. Now, is there a song that you go to pump yourself up? Is there something like that?
I listened to a lot of Cardi B before my event. So I
Okay,
listened to a lot of female rap, all
okay.
empowering female rap
Yeah,
music.
because that has the beat and that has that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a very English person, singer, like a
of
listener.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I enjoy Afro beats also.
Okay. Is there
Yeah.
a favorite one? Is there a favorite one which is
Uh,
on your
it's very like on the in the moment. So
okay.
right now I'm obsessed with Kendrick Lamar, his song named Luther. So
Uh-huh.
everything, I'm running, sleeping, dancing, eating, that song only I'm listening. Yeah.
I know that happens to me too. Yes. Once you like something, then you're just like
Yeah.
on it all the time.
And it keeps ringing in your head. Like I had an exam recently, and instead of writing my answer, I'm singing that song.
Oh
And
my God. Yeah. Good.
yeah.
Sure. Why not? Why not? Now, if you could play one sport for the rest of your life, what would that be?
I am very interested in CrossFit. So I would do something related to CrossFit. Maybe, they have a lot of CrossFit leagues, and also
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
professionally want to do CrossFit because I just love the hype of it, and I so in SNC we do have CrossFit, a little CrossFit in it, so I enjoy doing that. But
Mhm.
if that does not work, I would want to go for wrestling like anytime. Yeah.
Oh, how cool. Very cool. So, which sport do you secretly wish you could try professionally aside from your own? So, you would say
Yeah,
that it
I
would
would
be
say
wrestling or
yeah,
CrossFit?
yeah. Mostly
Either
CrossFit
wrestling,
towards CrossFit.
mostly CrossFit.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
And professionally.
I keep telling my mom also, like if I something happens in athletics, something, I'll go for CrossFit. And she's like, yeah, sure.
For fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that. You can
Yeah.
still like completely do that. Of course, of course. So, if Hollywood made a movie about your life, who do you think would play you?
It's a very nice question. So now that I am short, I'm 5'3", and if I think about Zendaya, no, because she's tall and she's lean. I My favorite is Zendaya, so I would love that if she does, like if she'll act for me. But I don't think we look the same because I'm short, she's tall, I'm bulky, she's very lean and model type. Yeah, I don't know. I actually have no clue.
They'll have to look for the right person, right?
I wouldn't mind doing myself. Like I'll
Oh,
actually,
that's a good one. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah. That's
wouldn't
a
mind
good one. That's a good
acting.
one. Yeah, yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Cool. So, talk to us about your social media.
My social media is all about building the environment for people to know how athletes have fun in training, out training. So we don't have that, that always the pressure environment. We have fun everywhere in training, during training, while traveling. So I just want to build a platform where people are more aware of how we live our life, and I also trying to work on awareness of body physics of an athlete. So I'm trying to
Okay.
post more of how we can how female athletes can feel good about themselves being like a muscular athlete like that. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, you handle your own social media or
Yeah,
you?
it's all
Wonderful.
my work. Yeah.
So, when did you, how did you know that, okay, fine, your social media is also taking off?
I till my internationals, I was only in 4,000, 5,000 followers. Right after my internationals, I made a post about when I went to Peru, and I think right after that, my Instagram started shooting. So that's when out of nowhere I got 21, 22K followers. So yeah, I think it was a sudden, like it was a 24 hours travel for us from Lima to India. So when I came to India, I opened my phone because we didn't have Wi-Fi internet. When I opened, I was like, "Oh my god! Like, what is this? Like, I think it's glitching." And then I got a lot of like people who DM me saying that, "Are you buying followers?" I said, "No, I don't know what is happening." Yeah, so I think that's when it shooted, and I think now I'm taking it more seriously now that my followers have increased. I just want to because I have a platform. I want to spread a I want to spread a message to people.
You have a message to spread as well,
Yeah.
which I think it's always a good thing to have a message to
Yeah.
convey through your platform,
Yeah.
because once you're an influencer, you can influence.
Yeah. True.
You know,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what's next for your? What's coming up?
26th, I have an event in Odisha, so I'll be traveling to Odisha for that. It's inter-university. It is a big event, so
Mhm.
hopefully I stand 1 in 8 in that event. It is a strong, tough, very tough event, and it will be my debut as a senior athlete. So
Oh wow! Okay.
I kept my expectations. Hopefully, I reach that.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, what if you had to sum up your life philosophy, what would that be?
By philosophy, you mean like
Just the mantra that you live by.
Uh, like, don't care if people judge you. Like, just go crazy. Like, when
Yeah,
when people
yeah,
say you're cringe, like, it's okay. They're just sad. Like, you can be cringe and have fun.
yeah. True,
Yeah.
true. Absolutely. I think that's a good philosophy to have.
Like, a
You
lot of
know.
people I still have friends, my very close friends. They're like, oh my god, like, why did you post that? That's cringe. I'm like, it's okay. I find it funny. I want to post it. Like, it's my platform, right? You're not doing anything for me to build my platform. So
Of
I
course, of course.
yeah.
Now, any advice you have for someone who's also building their social media platform?
Yeah, it's all about consistency, and you need to be consistent in your posting or anything. And because we are blessed to have a platform, you need to spread positive messages. And cyberbullying is a no. Like, you cannot troll anyone. Internet trolling is not, it's not socially, it reduces self-esteem of a person, and it triggers a person. So yeah, if you have a platform, just don't do something that hurts others. So do something which benefits others, or something positive and all.
Of course. Fantastic. I think that's absolutely on point.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it's just sad when a person who puts so much effort into something, and another guy who has the least opinion, or like doesn't have a common idea of what's happening, and he gives his unwanted opinion, and yeah, it's not right. Yeah.
So let's dive right into some rapid fire.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So morning or evening workouts?
Morning, anytime.
Protein shake or cheat meal?
Cheat meal.
Of course. Gold medal or world record?
World record.
Home ground competition or international?
International.
Favorite sports person of all times?
Shelly and Fraser Prize.
One word that describes you.
Crazy.
If you want an athlete, what would you be?
A fashion designer.
Oh, lovely. Talk to us about your crochet business a little.
It's nothing crazy. Just I just get orders, and I crochet them, and I upthrift a lot of clothes. I'm very into fashion. I love fashion. So I just get inspiration and something, and I just sell them. Yeah, it's nothing crazy, but yeah, I would love to do it professionally once.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah.
you could also be a fashion person
Yeah.
in the
I would.
future.
I
Any
would.
plans for that? Any plans for
Uh,
that?
I am so I'm doing everything on my own. I have a whole room of like tailoring. I have my own sewing machine. Everything's at home. So
Wow.
yeah, if I get a chance of doing something professional in sewing, I would jump right into it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Wonderful. So I think you should also send us some information about that because we can post about that as well.
I have another account for my all this crochet and art and all. Yeah. So it's
Fantastic. You should definitely send that over to my team so that whenever we are posting the article, we can definitely have that
sure.
as well.
Yeah.
Because this is a great thing that being an athlete, you also have an amazing side hustle, which is great. This is absolutely wonderful.
Nice. I'm studying psychology and journalism, so I'm doing journalism as my course, right? So when I was reading, like going through it, I was like, yeah, this is a very interesting platform, and I would love to, like, in the future maybe work with
Of course.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Of course. I'll definitely
Yeah.
text you myself personally as well, and we can keep in touch.
Yeah, because I have a lot of like international friends and all who have a lot of inspiring stories, and also I would love to
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. Of course.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice.
All right. It was wonderful, Neol.
Thank you.
I look forward to, talking to you again.
Yeah. Sure.
And all the best for everything.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me.
Of course.
Really grateful.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.